All right, so as the U.S. strikes alleged drug boats in the Caribbean and in the Pacific, by the way, House Democrats emerged from a classified briefing today on the Armed Services Committee, fuming, saying they don't know what the administration's end game is.
I heard no strategy, no end game, no assessment of how they are going to end the flow of drugs into the United States.
There's nothing that we heard in there that changes my assessment that this is completely illegal.
Am I leaving satisfied? Absolutely not.
Since September, the U.S. has launched attacks against at least, as we know of this evening, 14 boats, killing at least 61 alleged, as the administration puts it, narco-terrorists. Full panel here with me now. Mick Mulvaney, once again, former chief of staff in the first Trump administration. Jessica Anderson, former budget official in the first Trump administration. Naveen Nayak, back with us. Thanks for coming back in, Naveen, Democratic strategist. Dan Cannon, former Battleground States Director for the Biden-Harris campaigns. It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Thanks for coming in. I'm going to start with the former congressman. Do they have a beef?
Which ones? The Senate Democrats do.
The House Democrats.
No, they don't. They never told us anything in the House. The only people in the House and the Senate who actually get real intelligence are the folks who are on the intelligence committees. I never went to a single top secret classified briefing the 6 years I was in Congress and saw anything that I hadn't already read about in the Washington Post or the New York Times. That's just the way it is. They don't like it because it's Donald Trump. I get that. The Senate Democrats who are on the Intel committee, they probably have a beef.
So you all good with that explanation?
Yeah. We can go home. I don't have to come back for a while. I think there's the volume of questions here. It's not about intelligence and some secret thing that we don't know about. I think people are like, what are we doing? I mean, there's just a basic question here of there's no authority that, other than an executive order, which no one thinks is legal right now as a act of violence and war in the middle of the ocean against an undisclosed opponent that the U.S. has not declared. Like, the volume of I don't think any of those people walking out of the House were like, we want to know the secret. I think we want to know what is the White House's strategy here, and that's really terrifying.
I agree with my friend Naveen, obviously, but this is a pattern, and it's not so much about what the House is going to learn or not learn in those kind of briefings. To your point, Mick, maybe it wouldn't be nothing or much, at least in those kind of settings. But there's a history here, a record of blatant lack of respect for transparency and working with Democratic colleagues or anyone else on what's happening to the administration. 35 times, judges in court have told the Trump administration, you've lied to us in court. The cabinet goes and testifies in front of committee hearings and lies repeatedly about what they're doing or won't answer questions. They won't have Democrats come to briefings, and then they do these things that are clearly illegal without a sense of the plan for the American people. That lack of transparency in a plan and willfully avoiding any questions whatsoever is not appropriate for an administration.
I do note, and you've agreed with me on this before, Barack Obama was droning people all over the world as well. At that point in time, there was outrage back then. Sure. Just noting, back then it happened. Obviously, a much different scenario now. Do we deserve to know? I mean, we have the videos. Do we deserve to know what's what?
Well, I think the Trump administration actually has made it very clear. They've gone on offense against fentanyl coming across our borders, and they will take any measure to attack that, including using the broad authority of Article 2, which President Trump can do. Other presidents have done it, and that's what's happening here. And I think we remember how we got here. Over 100,000 people died from fentanyl under President Biden. So if you're going to take this tact and go after the warships, you should.
We skipped Trump's term in there.
It's been a problem for a while.
Yeah.
I had James Story sitting in this chair the other day, Mick. He's the former ambassador to Venezuela. Here's what he said, and then I want to get your reaction.
We have such a military buildup now in the Caribbean that I anticipate, with the arrival of the Gerald Ford in particular,
right,
that the president has an array of options before him. Anything within the 12 nautical mile zone of Venezuela, something on land, maybe a clandestine airstrip, or up to and including a complete decapitation of the government if he were to choose to do so.
You've been in this situation with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
What do you think he does here?
I got it. The Donald Trump that I knew in the first term would never start a land war in Venezuela. It's just I've been in those meetings where there were people begging him to do that, some of whom you would know, right? Some of whom have been recently indicted. That's another story. And Donald Trump was always, no, why would I do that? That's foolish. Why would I get it? I understand why Trump is doing things with the drug boats, okay? I might disagree with some things. I might want to know more if I'm a member of Congress. How do we know there's no citizens there? I get all of that, okay? I don't understand this, oh, my goodness, we're going to contemplate decapitating the Maduro government. This is what John Bolton begged him to do for 2 years, and Trump rightfully pushed back against it because that's not what he does. So I'm not really sure where this is coming from.
It's about getting the drugs.
You think it's just drugs?
I think right now
not
these
oil,
moves
not
are about
socialism
drugs.
in the Caribbean.
These are about drugs.
Well, we had drugs.
We
had drugs in
Mexico
2019.
is responsible for such a larger portion of the drugs. I don't even know what we're talking about.
Trump
Venezuela.
told us for 10 years that the drugs came from Mexico.
Yeah, what are we doing?
And now it's a different. different area.
And he's tried to use the alien enemies.
Not saying, by the way, that that's the only place they come from, but that was the line.
But he's already gone after the Mexico route, right, by closing our borders. Now he's taking to another route with the drug boats.
We can't ignore the fact that he's already used and tried to use the Alien Enemies Act against Venezuelan migrants and others here. This is a pretext, or could be in some ways, to do that further. And if that's the agenda, that's what he wants to try to accomplish, he owes an explanation to Congress and the American people.
All right, meantime, the president, as you know, just got back home from Asia. He all but dismissed during that trip the possibility of running for a third term, but suggested another duo for 2028. New BFFs, apparently, Vice President J.D. Vance and the Secretary of State Marco Rubio. And during a Turning Point USA event at Ole Miss last evening, some in attendance maybe caught wind of that. Because when the vice president took to the stage, he was met with chants of 48, meaning the person who will be the next president. Watch.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, ladies and gentlemen.
What do you make of that?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's a long time until 2028. Look, I think we'd be lucky to have Vance and Rubio, but Republicans also have a very deep bench. And my biggest takeaway, actually, from this, and I wonder if you feel the same, Mick, and since we know a lot of the same people, the teams around Rubio and Vance are the same teams. So these are all people that have worked together for a really long time in Washington, D.C., have great depth when it comes to Capitol Hill. And I think it'll be interesting to see if they can even get along.
Why are you smirking?
Because we know the people.
No, I'm going to say the same thing in a different way, which is I'm sort of visualizing Presidential Apprentice 28. Donald Trump sits back and has the line of 10 or 12 really good candidates to try and get his endorsement.
And he gives them a hat.
That's exactly
And you guys are going to say, when it gets to Iowa, the gloves are off. Right?
No, listen, first of all, that was a huge event and almost a testament to Kirk and you know, it's really impressive. They filled that stadium. Donald Trump could do that, and he's not. What's surprising is he's not playing, let's see, and forcing all these people to compete. He's actually already put his hand on Vance's shoulder, and I think at the end of the day, you're right. He gets to decide.
You just basically ran 2 presidential campaigns in the last election.
Don't recommend it in one cycle. One only, please.
What do you make of that?
I think that's right, that it's probably Vance, and the hand is largely on his shoulder. Every now and again, he throws Rubio in there, which I think is probably designed to keep Vance from getting too far ahead of himself on this stuff. My only question, Blake, is what J.D. Vance is going to show up. There's 7 of them. We got to find out which one he wants to be in 2028.
Mick raised the hand. I'll give you the last word.
There's a name that everybody forgets when they talk about this, the chosen one, the next one, right? The anointed successor. Don't forget about Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She's extraordinarily close to the president. She's one of his favorites. She's a great governor, and she's a good campaigner. So, no, there's a bunch of really good people on the bench. Don't mistake, I think they're a great couple, a great combo for an endorsement, because it's not even close to that.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Still to come.